Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. This is People of the State of Michigan versus Giovanni Chambers, docket number 21-76FH. This is the time set for sentencing. Mr. Chambers, before we go further, would you just confirm for me that you did agree to do this remotely rather than bringing you to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Female work back there needs toilet paper and the deputy.
okay. Is that,
Huh?
is that voice at the jail, Mr. Chambers?
I'm gonna move around. Yeah, I'm just a second. Let me try to get some. I'm gonna move over to here. Yeah, because I'm out in the open area.
Well, it's not your fault. They're supposed to make sure this doesn't happen, so.
Right.
Okay, you're good now?
Yes, I should be, yes.
Okay. So you were convicted of operating while intoxicated, third offense. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. You have the right to an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, have you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor. One minor correction.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Just one minor one on the cover page where it reads education under personal history. It says GED certificate. It should read high school diploma equivalent. I think there's a slight difference.
Oh, I didn't know that. High school diploma equivalent. Okay, I changed that. And you said that was your only one?
Correct.
Do you have any objection to the scoring of the guidelines?
No objection.
Did the people have any corrections to the report or objections to scoring?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Did the people wish to be heard?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, then I'll hear from you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chambers is still a relatively young man. He's 29. He's looking at his 30th birthday. I had a chance to speak with him last week, and he's basically, as you can expect, kind of rethinking his whole life and his goals and plans and hopes and dreams. But for Mr. Chambers, he finally realizes that he does have an alcohol problem. Originally, prior to, I guess, this incident, he thought that he wasn't addicted because he doesn't wake up with withdrawals and have like physical ailments. So he thought he would be okay, but it turns out that he realizes that he's not okay and that he's focused on his recovery now. Fortunately for Mr. Chambers, he has a very supportive family. His mother's supportive. His grandfather's a local attorney. His grandmother is a radio person, but they're all very supportive for Mr. Chambers. He does have a place to live with his mom when he gets out. Hopes to be able to do that at sometime soon. Mr. Chambers is serving a sentence in Eaton County for a probation. Our offense violated him for his OWI third that he had there. He was sentenced to, it's strange how they scored it, but a year in jail, credit for like 190 days. All that equals to be his outdated July 22nd.
Wait a minute, wait. I can't get everything you're saying, Mr. Jackson.
I'm sorry, I just moved back in the back. I had to ask somebody else to bring me in the back. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, thank you. But I mean, really, it's not your fault. The jail is supposed to make sure you have a quiet place. So go ahead, Mr. Jackson. I think you were telling me about his PV.
Sure. He was violated in Eaton County for our offense. It gave him a year in jail. They credited him like 190 days, but his out date is supposed to be July 22nd. And that is a penalty. It's a long time in jail for Mr. Chambers. Our agreement with the prosecutor is a 0 to 6 month cap. And the intent was ideally to allow him to serve that probation and kind of run those sentences together for the most part. I understand that based on when his bond was revoked here, that he doesn't have all that credit in our file, but hopefully Your Honor can honor the time he has spent in jail, even on his other file in Eaton County, because that was kind of what we were hoping to accomplish with no further jail. We would ask that you still follow the recommendation, minus the recommended 120 days in jail on this PSI recommendation. Mr. Chambers wants to enroll in he's done a lot of research on continuing his education. He learned about LCC's programs where they can give him free schooling. He told me he's interested in the EMS and the CNA program. I advised him that I don't know, his convictions might get in the way of at least one of those. He understands that, but he's still going to go to school when he's able to, because he wants to better his life and give himself some opportunities. He also understands that what he's going to do differently is to stay away from certain negative influences that were triggers in the past. In the past, he basically had a lot of stress in his life, which caused him to start drinking. When he was younger, his mom moved to different states and he kind of restarted each time there. But besides that, Your Honor, he is going to be put on probation most likely. He may have a scram tether in place, which will ensure sobriety. And if he does drink or tampers with it, the court will know very quickly. He wants to get the help and get treatment, but this time, again, Your Honor, it's a little different because he understands that he does have a problem and he wants to correct it. Before, he might have just been not fully understanding how serious alcoholism is and that he has it, but he certainly understands it now, and he wants to be successful on probation in Ingham County, and I think he's going to do that. If Your Honor could sentence him to probation, not give him further jail. He's been in there a while. He still has a few months to go. He's sober, clean, and he has a plan, and hopefully he can realize it this time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Chambers, is there anything you wanted to say?
Yes, I'm sorry for putting myself in this in front of you in court today. He was right when he said this is my first time actually admitting that I was alcoholic. I never took the judge's advice, or I never took any of the deputies' advice when they've always told me not to come back to jail, or they hope not to see me again. I always shrugged it off. I was always told by, some of the people in my family that I wasn't an alcoholic because I didn't have to wake up and drink. But at the age of 29, me having my fourth offense of drunk driving, putting the community in danger, I definitely see that I have a problem. And I'm all down for outpatient programming and just actually taking something out of it this time instead of ignoring the stuff that they was trying to teach me. I think at the age of 30, I've definitely got a lot of catching up to do because I've already went back to school and got my diploma late. So this is another thing that I got to tackle, but I'm definitely sorry, and it won't happen in the future.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. Chambers, sometimes the best teacher of all is not a judge, but it's you. So it took you to see it. And now that you do, you can definitely do something about it. It's never too late. You did things later than you wanted to, but that's okay. Lots of times people look at things like this as an opportunity. I think that maybe it would help to look at it that way too. Sure, it took a couple of times to wake you up and get you out of denial, but that's all right too, as long as you're out of it now and you can see clearly what the problem is and what you need to do. I would really suggest too that and you haven't taken judges' advice in the past, you've told me, but, you know, I think a support group would really help. You can be with people that are going through the same struggle that you're going through, and you can see that, you know, they're not different than you. And the support of something like AA is essential, many people tell me, to recovery. But the point is that you see clearly what the issue is now. You're ready to face it. That is courageous. You can do it. You have the power. It's all in your hands. And I just am going to point you in the right direction, hopefully through probation. So I'm going to place you on probation for a period of 18 months, 90 days in jail with credit for 16 days served. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs. I'm waiving oversight fees, waiving costs to the county. Additional conditions of probation are no use or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances. You may not use marijuana recreationally or use medical marijuana in violation of the Medical Marijuana Act. You must attend AA, NA, and/or CA meetings as directed by your agent. You must complete a substance abuse assessment. If you're referred by your agent, complete whatever outpatient or residential substance abuse treatment is recommended for you. If I didn't say it after the no use of controlled substances, comply with drug and alcohol testing as your agent directs. You will be on 120 days of scram tether when you get released from custody. You must not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. No contact with anyone you know to have a felony record. You can't possess a weapon while you're on probation. You must contact your agent no later than the first business day following your release from incarceration. You must comply with the written and verbal orders of your agent. Let the agent into your home at any time and submit to a search of your person or property without need of a warrant. Report any changes to your agent within 24 hours. Of course, your license has to be revoked. You may not drive a motor vehicle while your license is revoked. And you must make genuine efforts to find and maintain employment a minimum of 30 hours per week. Mr. Chambers, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It will explain that more on the form that we'll send to you called Appellate Rights. And we will also send you a form that tells you about early discharge from probation if you are eligible. Do you have any questions then before we go, Mr. Chambers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good luck. And that will conclude our hearing. You can tell them there at the jail that you're all set.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.